What is the color of our eyes? The color, not colors, as we tend to describe our eyes as blue, green, brown. This study looks at exactly that. It looks to identify the average color of a pool of irises, the part of your eye where we see the most color. This video will briefly cover an introduction to eyes, their evolutionary function, as well as the cultural and symbolic significance of the eye to humans. I will then summarize the materials, methodology, analysis, and result of the study. I will conclude on a brief discussion of the results and limitations of the study and where it can be improved in the future. The function of eyes. Color variation, to the extent that appears in human populations, has not yet been seen in wildlife populations. In the wild, the eyes of a mouse or prey species are located on the side of their head in order to observe a larger periphery in case of predators. Prey species also tend to have darker eye coloration. Similarly, predators who chase after their prey are theorized to have darker irises, but rather than adapt for peripheral vision, the eyes are forward-facing on the head to enable better vision of the target animal. However, predators who tend to stalk their prey seem to have a larger population of lighter colored eyes. Studies have also found that geography and topography have large impacts on eye color. A study in Madagascar found that frogs at a higher altitude had lighter eyes than their lower canopy counterparts. Human variations can be observed geographically too. Europeans have been found to have the most diverse array of eye colors, while populations of people in East Asia have been found to have darker coloration. In fact, there is an even deeper difference between Europe and East Asia in the culture of eye contact. A study found that Westerners focus on the eyes and lips of others to engage in social cues, whereas East Asian populations focus on the middle of the face and rarely stray as they deem direct eye contact disrespectful. We use eyes all over the world to understand human behavior. In fact, eyes are so important in so many cultures that they have popped up as symbols for varying attributes around the world. The Eye of Fatima, for example, is known in 3 religious cultures, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, for varying symbols of religious fables and prayers. The evil eye is known through most of the south of Europe for warding off the evil eye by wearing it as a charm. The Eye of Horus is a well-known hieroglyphic symbolizing sacrifice and healing, rooted in an ancient Egyptian origin. From this rich cultural history, I have asked 3 questions. Is beauty in the eye of the beholder? If we see someone's eyes as blue, is it actually blue? Are the eyes we have equal? Do they match, or is there a difference in colors between our left and right eyes? And finally, women are statistically more likely to have green or blue eyes. Therefore, will they on average have lighter eyes than their male counterparts in this pool? In my project, I took a photograph of the eyes of 10 volunteers. I then used Photoshop to isolate the irises of each individual eye and identify the average RGB value. I used a DSLR camera, 2 LED lights, a tripod or a makeshift stand in the absence of a tripod, a black background, an external flash gun which I mounted onto my camera, and asked my participants to hold a handheld reflector about chest height. I then analyzed the images by cropping each photograph twice, saving each eye as an individual file. After making a new layer, I then isolated the pupil and removed it in order to prevent color bias in the sample. I then selected the iris using the magnetic selection tool. I followed this by selecting the color range tool and using the additive eyedropper to sample as many colors as I could until most of the iris could be seen in the thumbnail. I avoided areas of light reflection as I thought this might show an incorrect color. After using the color range tool to select all the colors of the iris, I used the RGB histogram to read the mean RGB value and the mean red, green, and blue values individually. The results? Average eye colors of individuals remain grouped, as can be seen by this overall plot of the average RGB values. However, looking more closely, I analyzed the significance of color difference between what we naturally perceive as blue, green, and brown. Although there was no significant difference in any color combination, there was a moderate difference between blue and brown eyes. The graph to the right is colored by the true RGB values for each dataset. The following graph looks at the differences between left and right eyes. The mean RGB values between the two datasets showed moderate significance. However, looking at the line graph, it may be possible to assume that this significance has arisen due to outliers. The difference in male and female average RGB has shown the least promise of significance in my investigation. With a p-value of 0.977, there is almost no difference in this population of participants. This may be due to a lack of female participants. So let's discuss this. This study was severely limited by a small population pool and sex skew. A variable methodology was used in an attempt to include more participants, and this may have led to statistical error. However, this is a sign of the times, as we're in the middle of an epidemic. However, the study shows promise, as the blue and green eye colours showed a moderate difference, as did the difference between left and right eyes. There was very little significant difference between the other colour variables in the study, including the difference between male and female eye colours, which has a rich statistical history of presenting differently. In the future, a study with a larger participant pool may find more statistically significant results. Finally, I leave you with my references. Thank you very much.